Leveraging technology in the fast evolving industrial landscape has become essential rather than optional. Automotive manufacturing is no exception. The pursuit of navigating the continuously evolving demand calls for mechanisms beyond traditional methods. Supply chain disruptions, complex consumer demands, and regulatory requirements bring us to technology driven solutions. This webinar by Epicor, in collaboration with the Economic Times, is a step towards exploring how AI powered cloud ERP solutions are revolutionizing the Indian automotive manufacturing sector and helping us navigate the challenges. We have with us Vinny Mehta, Secretary General of the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association of India, Ayappa Muthana, Senior Solutions Engineer, Epicor, Sanjay Narang, General Manager, Minda Industries Limited, and Vijay Kumar P, General Manager, Manufacturing Excellence, Sundaram Auto Components Limited, as we try to gain more insights on the subject. I welcome you all, and it's great to have you with us over here today. We will start the session with Vinny. Welcome, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Neha, for having me.
We need to begin with. I want to check. I wanted to ask you about how are ERP systems in today's data-rich environment? How are they helping to transform real-time decision making? And if you could share some examples with us where this integration has actually impacted efficiency or reduced downtime.
So, Neha, I mean, that's a very interesting question, but maybe if I were to step back something like 10 years ago in the automotive value chain in India, and more specifically the auto component industry that I represent, the integration of IT, forget ERP, the integration of IT or usage of IT in our industry was very, very minimal because I come with the background of the IT. I served the IT industry for good 14 years, 18 years, and then I moved to ACMA. And I was pretty dismayed by the amount of IT that was being deployed in this industry. But the coming of pandemic was a very defining moment for this industry. And while the OEMs were still using pretty high degree of IT, there was a lot of IT integration happening in their manufacturing systems. In the component space, it was very little, but the coming of pandemic, the entire industry transformed itself. And that was something really wonderful to happen. I've never seen such a transformation happen in terms of adopting and integrating IT solutions. There were people who were early adopters, but there were many, many fence sitters, and actually overnight, everybody really came onto the IT bandwagon. And of course, today you cannot envisage a manufacturing value chain without ERP systems, and the automotive value chain as a whole contributes about 7% of our GDP, and the auto component industry is half of that. Definitely, as you said, that ERP systems are very integral in managing the entire value chain. And when you look at what does a manufacturing value chain look like, you're procuring from tier ones into OEMs procure from tier ones, they to tier twos, and then in turn from tier threes. Then there is warehousing, the logistics come into being, then there is the manufacturing per se, then there is outbound logistics, then there is distribution of the finished goods to the consumers, and looking at beyond is the consumer complaints and management of those. So the ERP systems can actually, tie in everything together. There's so much of data that gives you a huge amount of visibility, and it can help bring in a lot of efficiency. And in our automotive value chains, where we pride ourselves in just-in-time processes, this cannot happen without ERP solutions. And of course, there are others when we look at IoTs and other digitization happening, which we will talk in due course. But I think as a beginning, the entire value chain, if it has to operate seamlessly, it cannot be without ERP solutions, because you have to have visibility of upstream and downstream both. And I think the industry continues to use it very, very effectively. We are probably a shining example of the manufacturing industry in India, and also globally. We are a very globally competitive industry, and when you are exporting, again, you have to be very, very efficient. And today's, when you're looking at exports, you also have to be mindful of your carbon footprint and stuff like that. So I think the digitization, not just ERP, the digitization of the entire manufacturing value chain is playing a great part in making our industry more competitive, making us more leaner, making us more efficient. Yeah.
Right, and the way, as you said, pandemic, a lot of people, you know, went on with adopting this, implementing this. So, is there an example which you have in mind from that time or even now where it really translated into gains for that particular company?
Well, for an association, it's very difficult to talk about a particular company, but I would
Hmm.
say all OEMs and the
Hmm.
tier ones, definitely the tier ones, because the adoption of digitization in the smaller companies, considering we are a very
Hmm.
brick and mortar industry,
Hmm.
also you must understand that the smaller company cannot afford very expensive
Yeah.
solutions. Okay,
Correct.
so,
Hmm.
so I would say that today the entire OEMs and the tier ones definitely have a completely on the ERP systems, whereas the smaller companies are still being onboarded, and that'll be an ongoing journey, because there'll be tier
Hmm.
two, there'll be tier threes. Yeah.
Correct. 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 Yeah. Of course.
Yes.
I
Every
think.
single company is onboarded. There's no one particular company to talk of, because, as I said,
Yes.
you pride in just-in-time solutions and processes and deliveries. So it can
Mm-hmm.
those solutions.
Right, and also like of course with smaller companies, it's also about like as you said, the costs. Sometimes it is the costs also
Absolutely.
which act as a deterrent to them adopting it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and not just that. I think it's smaller companies. It's not just the cost; it is people availability of the right set of people who can operate these solutions, and sometimes we tend to push solutions that are way too beyond for them to chew, right? They may not use and they may require just 10% or 15% or 20% of the solutions that we are pushing out to them. But that's for smaller companies.
Hmm.
There is no issue today in terms of when we talk about larger companies, whether it is the vehicle manufacturers or the tier ones. Absolutely
Hmm.
completely onboarded. Not just onboarded onto that, we're now moving on to next levels, which would be the IoTs, and we are looking at how to have more Industry 4.0 or IoT or digitization, whatever you want to call, in the factories. We're looking at how to make our warehousing and logistics more efficient by building intelligence on top of
Hmm.
ERP or IoTs that we have brought in. So it's a continuous evolution that we are witnessing, and if the industry has to stay competitive, we have to digitize. That's an imperative. There is
Hmm.
no other choice today. Yeah.
Sanjay, I want to first, I want to ask you delve a bit into data-driven efficiency. And, when we talk about predictive maintenance, it is often seen as a game changer in manufacturing. So, how does ERP enable predictive maintenance through data analytics? And what results are you seeing in terms of reduced equipment failures? If you can, also give us some examples of that.
Yeah. So I think a very interesting topic is today's industry scenario. Predictive maintenance is revolutioning actually the manufacturing by leveraging data analytics and to anticipate equipment failures and to take realistic actions with the support of AI tools. So ERP, as we say, it is the entire platform where we can do the resource planning, the financial management, and the machinery equipment planning. So I think these platforms are supporting us in a big way using advanced tools like IoT sensors on the machines. They can easily predict the kind of behaviors what the machines are giving. They can give you the sense what kind of maintenance and equipments are required to be done in the right time, so that we can take appropriate calls. And with the historic data, I would say they are giving us sustainable in the manufacturing, and the impact is that we have improved 30% uptime into the machineries. Like they have also increased the reliability of the machinery and supported the breakdowns, unplanned breakdowns in the industry. So this is how the IoT collaboration with the ERP is giving us a very, you would say, strong results. The results are really very impressive, and as I shared you, this is around 40% of the uptime has improved and 30% of productivity asset life has been improved with respect to preventive maintenance. It is helping organizations with increasing in the overall equipment efficiencies and production schedules and reliability to the system. This is what we feel and we are experiencing into our kind of industry.
So, in terms of a real time case, if you can give us any anecdotal example of
Yeah,
that,
practically you can
what
talk about.
advantage you saw? Yes.
So normally, what happens is we in the industry deploy certain IoT-based sensors onto the machinery. They predict the machines, they take the real-time data, and it's a huge data platform where we get the real phenomena of the machines, how they are behaving it. So in a way, once the data has been collected, they give us early warning signals where the wear tear is happening, what we need to take it on. So the real platform or the real-time analysis is supporting us to take the realistic actions and maintaining our productivity and machinery equipment into a finest order. This is how it has been supporting, and it is very common in the industry as of today, if you say, and it is supporting us the manufacturing operations.
Which obviously which would not have been the case previously.
Yes,
Uh,
previously
from that.
there has not been any adequate data. We didn't know the phenomena of the failures. We didn't have the spares availability. So ERP, as I said, it is supporting us in the inventories, making the spare part management, taking the realistic data, ordering in time. It is helping us a lot in that way. So there is a strong connect, and it is a revolution in the manufacturing, I would say, the connection of ERP and IoT.
Right. Ayappa, we heard Mr. Narang speak about the benefits and how it has helped them to consolidate data and inventory management as well. On a similar lines, I want to speak a bit. I want to highlight ERP's role in customizable production lines, and in the era of customization, how are ERP solutions enabling more flexible production lines and adaptive manufacturing? Again, I would want you to give a use case where ERP has helped shorten time to market in this particular scenario.
Yeah, so as said by Sanjay ji, there is a lot of technologies these days to capture information from the shop floor and then analyze it using AI and then give contextual insights. So on similar lines, manufacturing is also getting interesting. There are a lot of new technologies coming in. How ERPs help is ERP helps in managing resources. When I say resources, it can be finite capacity. So each resource, maybe a tool or a mission for that instance, it can be mapped with finite capacity. And then once you schedule these missions against various demands, like there are multiple kinds of demands across automotive sector, it may be a make to stock kind of a scenario, or it may be a engineer to order or a make to order kind of scenario. So these carries various demands, and then every demand will have a promise date or delivery date to the customer. So it is important for manufacturers to adhere to these timelines and deliver the products at a faster rate. So when the planner schedules, traditional ERPs have the scheduling engine or the scheduling software, but when the planner plans it, he has the options to schedule the mission against a particular resource on a finite capacity. And once he schedules that, he can make the last moment changes. It may be priorities, it may be any other constraints which you want to reschedule or move it to a different assembly line or a different equipment. So he gets that tools to do those scheduling changes and see what happens when the schedule is changed, and with respect to the previous orders or upcoming orders, whether it is affecting it or not. On top of it, AI plays an important role. AI helps to automate this further by understanding the various sequences, resource efficiencies in the past, like which tool or which machine combination can work better to produce the orders in a faster rate and deliver on the timelines, so that, as you said, the time to market is faster and things like that. So that is one sort of functionalities what ERPs and a combination of AI models can help the auto part manufacturers or auto OEMs in a certain way. And the other thing is customizations you spoke about. So customizations are key. Like this falls under maybe an engineering to order kind of a scenario, or a what you call as configure to order kind of a scenario, where these days applications or ERPs provide visual configurators wherein the customers can go and build their product right from the scratch. They can choose it, what sub-assemblies, what components has to be added using a visual configurator. And once that is done, at an engineering level, they can even automate the drawing process. So whatever design tools they're using, maybe a 2D design or a 3D design, they can automate the design to manufacturing bombs and routings in a very simple fashion by automating it, so that it reduces the design to manufacturing timelines, also reduces the errors during the process of converting a design into, say, a manufacturing bomb, again helping in reducing time to market. And the other challenge, what automotive customers or part manufacturers usually ask is, at the time of releasing the job and producing the job on the shop floor, there might be last moment changes or hiccups, like material not there, maybe components not there. So such quick changes can be like rectified using the ERPs, wherein they can know the suggestions for alternate materials, maybe suppliers who can quickly ship those alternate materials. Again, AI models can benefit a lot in these regards.
No, that's very interesting about how ERP can kind of take charge when things are just falling astray. But have you personally experienced that as a situation, as a use case, which you can tell us where, you know, it really got things in control? Something of that case study or something.
Exactly. Like one use case can be the integration of design to, say, manufacturing. So there is a tool which we use basically to connect the design applications. Previously, the customer used to take a lot of time. Once the design is done, they used to take a lot of time to populate this bomb back into their ERP. So some design engineers or the engineering team has to again come back and build those sub-assemblies, build those materials back into the ERP also. So that takes a lot of time, and also there was a lot of errors which the final bomb was prone to. So the customer used to lose a lot of time, and also there might be scenarios where wrong materials was ordered based on what the engineering team has built in the ERP, and the design is something different. So by using this integration tool, which sits in between the design as well as ERP, they were able to reduce. The first thing is that they were able to reduce the time to manufacturing. Quickly they can push these designs into ERPs, and then once they push these designs into ERP, the errors which they previously used to get with respect to material changes or with respect to routing changes were completely reduced, and their delivery timelines was completely improved, or the OTIF, what we call on time in full deliveries, where those metrics or KPIs were improved to a greater extent.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So again, direct examples of how it can actually customize as per the need of the hour.
Exactly.
I want to ask you a bit about supply chain visibility,
Mhm.
and the question is about how from raw materials to finished goods, end-to-end visibility is crucial, as we've seen. So, how has ERP influenced your approach to inventory management, and what tangible benefits have you seen in terms of, say, cost savings or efficiency improvements, if you can tell us?
See, inventory management is a very important topic for any industry. Inventory is one of the biggest muda or waste in for any company. So the thing is, we need to have a tight control on inventory, not only from a financial perspective, even from a operational perspective. So if we are not controlling our inventory, it will hide a lot of inefficiencies in the plant. So to begin with, what we have done is control. However, these controls were not so effective. So what we have done is we have introduced a sort of a barcode system. So the moment when we receive the material from the customer, it comes with a barcode. See what will happen when the metal comes with a barcode. It the GRN becomes easy. So when we there also we could able to save quite a bit of manpower related activities. Yeah,
through implementation of such methods.
yeah,
Right.
certainly, certainly, yeah. So in this
Okay.
case, ERP helped us to bring the visibility and sort of accountability across the layers. Okay, so through which we could able to control it in better way.
Right. And, in a similar line, I want to ask you about the advanced manufacturing techniques since they are very essential to meet today's demands. So, from that standpoint, like we spoke a little bit about supply chain and, how it is helping, how ERP is helping.
We have also put a mechanism, okay, where we could able to track with the support of IoT. We could able to provide some sensors. We could able to take the information directly from the PLCs of the machine. So we could every shot we can able to identify for every shot what is the cycle time. So one thing is it gives every shot we can get the cycle time and how much quantity we have produced vis-a-vis the plant. So if the actual quantity is more than the planned quantity, so it gives a trigger. So saying that like you are exceeding it. So that way we could able to control the inventory. This is one step which we have done. The other this thing is
Right. And how much is the market time, which has been reduced as a result of this?
see, as far as market time is concerned, so RFQ from the customer, what we have done is earlier, the marketing guys have to go to the different, approach different team members. Then he has to get the thing. So the activities used to happen in a sequence. So what used to happen, like we could our quoting time itself used to take somewhere around 14 to 15 days. So now it is everything is in parallel. Means the moment they receive any RFQ, so it triggers the relevant team members, and they will work on whatever is the inputs that are required for quoting. So that will go into the respective department. Once that is done, it goes to the next level.
Right. Also, you mentioned previously in the conversation about just in time,
Yeah.
right? And there is also just in case. So there are these,
Yes.
there are these inventory management strategies which are there in the automotive sector. So for these kind of, how useful is ERP when it comes to these kind of strategies which have to be applied in the sector? What is your perspective on that?
Well, okay. So just in time has to be all about very, very efficient, and because as I said that our or my delivery cannot impede or cannot lead to stoppage of a manufacturing line. Okay. Now, in the pandemic, what we witnessed was, you have to be prepared for any eventuality, right? And that becomes just in case something goes wrong. How do you
Exactly.
manage? And therefore, if you have a visibility of, say, a chip plant that's flooded, and you can then probably have sort of plan your inventories such you don't deplete your inventories, or if there are other is a location B from where you can source, okay, or you plan your production schedules such that by the time that plant comes up, you can manage your production line. So it's a question of managing contingencies, and just in time is about probably business as usual, using when everything is right and everything is going smooth, and lo behold, you just your component arrives as and when, and I mean just the time that it is required, because you are reducing your inventory carrying cost by being just in time. And pandemic also taught us that you need to instead of keep inventories of items just in case something goes wrong. And there's a very fine balance, because you have to manage costs, especially from an Indian perspective. We are a very, very price sensitive market. Okay. And you have to be very wary of every single cost that is coming in the system. Okay. So everything has to be very, very optimal. And optimization can happen by using the right kind of tools, which of course would be intelligent tools. So where we had an ERP and an IoT, now we need to put something on top of it, and that's artificial intelligence. From those people who are providing the ERP solutions, we need to sort of provide, if we really want the entire manufacturing value chains in India, and particularly from my perspective, the automotive value chain to be much more efficient than what it is today, we need to now look at solutions for the smaller companies, the small and medium enterprises. There are solutions, of course, for small and medium enterprises. I'm not saying not there, but then we need a lot more education for them to onboard them sometimes, by not being aware of what is in place, and sometimes because not having an exposure, they get very intimidated, by the jargons. Okay, so these needs to be demystified. The value proposition needs to be communicated very, very effectively, so that there is more adoption of ERP systems, or the likes of ERP system, or more of digitization in the value chain that needs to happen, and the benefits need to be communicated to them, because at the end of the day, smaller companies probably expect the turnaround to happen of what they're spending probably in the same fiscal year, because the bandwidth is not so large for them to spend money, right? So we need to look at more interesting ways of putting these solutions. This could be on cloud and stuff like that. There are enough and more ways and means to go around it. But the point is that one needs to reach out to them and talk to them in their language, and also showcase success stories in smaller and medium companies, because that's very comforting for them. And a lot of the times, they draw comfort from examples, and they say, hey, yeah, this can happen, so maybe you can call it a herd mentality or whatever, but it works.
Right. Sanjay, I want to switch gears a bit and speak about supply chain visibility. And, supply chain disruptions are obviously a thing which is talked about in every sector. And of course, automobile sector is no exception. So I want you to tell me about how ERP has helped your company to improve visibility across the supply chain, and what role does it play in rapidly responding to such disruptions?
We can actually track out our shipments to the customers. So I think real time access is becoming a very important tool. In essence, I would say ERP as a backbone of supply chain resilience strategy, empowering us not only to weather disruption but also maintain agility and efficiency in the entire process. That's how it has been supporting to the entire supply chain and mitigating us the risk to the supply chain demands.
Okay, and so it has been beneficial in that sense to kind of uh, bring this to a kind of control the disruption which is caused in terms of the supply chain
Yeah,
imbalances which are there.
once you have the real time data, you can manage your inventories, you can improve your inventory carrying cost, you can maintain the stock levels, you can easily deliver to your customer. The timelines have been shortened.
We spoke about supply chain, and I want to talk a bit about sustainability and compliance, which again, like supply chain disruptions, it is also the talk of the hour, right? Everybody is talking about it, about sustainability. So, as regulatory standards evolve, compliance can be complex, right? So, how does ERP streamline compliance management for your company? If you can tell us about that, and how valuable is it really in ensuring continuous adherence to industry standards?
Yeah, so I'll break this question into again two. One is speaking on the sustainability or the carbon neutrality side of it, and then to
Yes,
the compliance part of it, where
definitely.
auto industry compliance. So coming to the sustainability side of it, sustainability has become a prime focus these days. In context of an automobile industry, there are various stages in which we can reduce carbon emissions, like right from the design, manufacturing, distribution, usage. So these are the various stages in which the emissions can be controlled. But as a ERP provider, where we can really add value to our customers across automotive industry is during the manufacturing stage. When it is coming to the design stage, design can be altered, or it can be with smaller parts, lighter parts, that can be done. And when it comes to manufacturing, it can be new innovative manufacturing technologies or equipments with better efficiencies can be procured. But the idea is about how do you reduce the emissions in the manufacturing with the help of ERP. So as Sanjay was mentioning, IoT plays a critical role in capturing a lot of information from the shop floor. So one such use case is tracking energy or energy monitoring with respect to the various machineries which are producing these auto components. So that is very critical. Like there might be old machines which are consuming more power, or there might be latest machines with PLC technologies which are efficient. So how do we basically identify it? So IoT plays a critical role. IoT captures this information. Once IoT captures this information, it can be synced with MES or ERP data to give analytics. Again, AI plays a key role here, like analytics with respect to what was the job which was consuming more power, or what was the product group which was consuming more power, or what was a mission which was consuming more power. So these analytics can be on real time based on the mission output. And then now with the help of business intelligence, it can give a lot of visualizations to the end user to identify where are the real concern areas, so they can tackle those issues. At Epicor also, we are helping the customers analyze these data. So what we are building is we're building something called an AI-infused cognitive ERP. So that's the first part of addressing the sustainability part of it. And coming to the compliance, again, compliance can be broken down into different, it may be supplier quality, it may be standards like ISO or IATF standards, or it may be compliance with respect to new product development. So when I come to supplier quality, most of the companies these days manage their compliance, especially the document side of it, in a manual way. Like for example, PPAP, which is a supplier evaluation production part approval process. There are multiple stages to it. So how does automotive company manage this? Whether they're managing it manually, whether the stages are managed manually, whether it is easy to retrieve the stages or understand what documentation goes towards this PPAP and things like that. But with the help of an ERP, all these can be digitized, and the customers can quickly go and access these documents. Similarly, coming to the standards, ISO asks for a lot of compliances with respect to maybe non-conformance. A CAPA has to be generated for each and every non-conformance. Then maybe statistical data about product quality, process quality. So it is important to capture this data and store this data in a digital way and present this data during an audit, and also reduce the non-conformances and things like that with respect to audit. And then the risk management and contingency planning. When it is digitized, it is easy for the customers to look back into what was the actions taken, what was the improvement steps done, and things like that. So this way, we can address those standards. And coming to the new product development compliance, all their APQPs, control plans can be digitized. Design FMEAs can be digitized, and complete product data management and documentation can be done with the ERP and document management systems, so that everything is stored and retrieved whenever it is required to be pulled out. So that's how we can address compliances using ERP systems.
Right. So a lot of ways in which Epicor is helping to keep to drive the sustainability vision forward in terms of the number of steps that you are taking, as you mentioned. Sanjay, do you want to also add to this, to what Ayappa said, in terms of what your company is doing from a sustainability standpoint, and bringing ERP into that perspective, to take it forward?
Yeah. So I think sustainability is, I would say, is a most important priority across the industry nowadays. And if you look at the government schemes related to the, if a machine is consuming more of electricity, the buzzer will come through the IoT enabled system that the energy consumption is going high, and that is leading to the wastage of the resources. So that gives us a trigger. Yes, how we need to maintain it. So this is one way to look at it. Emission tracking, we are using softwares to check upon the carbon emissions, how the stack emissions are being taking place, so that we can get the we can contribute really to the environment and to the society with respect to our part production. It's basically the early pop-ups come into the dashboards with the support of AI and the real-time monitoring of the data. We get those pop-ups and early signs where we need to work upon, and we do the compliance with respect to the government norms and meeting the industry expectation. And since we are a compliant-based industry, so I think this is becoming essential and very key factor nowadays to honor this and to look forward for Mother Nature. That's how we have been working upon the sustainability part.
Right, wonderful. And it's great to know how ERP is really helping to take forward the goals of, all the companies in this space. It has been really great to know more about the data-driven efficiencies and how it can enhance resource efficiency for the sector. Thanks a lot for joining us today and giving us these insights. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
Best wishes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. ACMA has been instrumental in driving collective progress and addressing shared challenges, and we hope that this helps in change at a macro level for the sector. It has been a rich deep dive into how ERP systems integrated with Internet of Things devices, leveraging AI, are helping us navigate the complexities of this data driven industrial landscape where sustainability has become central and pivotal to manufacturing. It is evident that we are face to face with a transformation that will change automotive manufacturing forever. All we have to do is understand that technology is no longer an option. It has become a necessity for all of us to embrace.